She thought she was safe, in church, but he locked the doors. And when she tried to leave, he grabbed her. A pastor, the man she trusted, the man her family trusted. You're watching at Unbelievable True Story, where we only tell real stories. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. This happened in Ohio, 2025. A pastor in his 40s, well known in the community. He used his role, his power, his voice to lure women. He said, "Stay late, let's pray." But prayer wasn't what he had planned. The woman tried to fight back, but the doors were locked. Nobody could hear her scream. And here's the truth you don't want to hear. 1 in 3 women will face violence in their lifetime. And 80% of abuse comes from somebody they already know. Not a stranger, not the man in the alley, but the man they trust. That's why we added a women's self-defense course in the description and the first pinned comment. It's built by police and martial arts experts. Shows how to break free, escape bigger attackers, and stay calm under pressure. No gym, no fluff, just survival. Now stay with me, because we're about to break down who this pastor really was, how long he'd been hiding, and the one mistake that finally brought him down. She was 23, bright smile, worked part-time at a local diner. She loved singing in the choir, even when her voice cracked. She wasn't rich, but she was rich in spirit, always helping out, always saying yes when people needed a ride, or a meal, or just somebody to listen. And he knew that about her. He saw it. He used it. It was a cold March evening in Ohio, 2025. The sun had dropped early. Snow from last week still sat on the sidewalks, turned gray from car exhaust. Streetlights buzzed yellow. And inside the church, the heat clicked on and off, rattling the old pipes. She thought she was just stopping by for a short meeting. He told her, "Come by. We'll pray together. We'll talk about your future in the church." It sounded safe, normal. Why would she ever say no? When she walked in, he smiled that same friendly smile. But something felt off. The doors clicked shut behind her. And then she heard it. The lock. Her heart started racing. She didn't want to believe it, but deep down, she knew. He wasn't here to pray. He was here to trap her. Now pause right there, because this is where we gotta face the ugly truth. 80% of abuse cases involve someone the victim already knows. That's from a U.S. Department of Justice, 2023. 80%. It ain't the stranger in the alley most of the time. It's the friend, the teacher, the family member, the pastor. And she had no idea she was about to become another number in that statistic. She froze, because that's what most people do. You think you'll fight, you think you'll scream, but when it happens, your body locks up. Your brain says, this can't be real. But it is. He grabbed her arm. He pulled her toward the office in the back of the church. The carpet smelled like old books and candle wax. The air was heavy, and every step she took away from the exit felt like her life was shrinking. She begged him, "Please let me go." He said nothing. Just shove her into the room and shut the door. Now let me tell you why this hits so hard. She wasn't some random woman. She was a daughter, a sister, somebody's best friend. She had dreams. She wanted to be a nurse. She was saving money to take classes at the community college that fall. But in that moment, none of that mattered. All that mattered was the lock on that door, and the man standing between her and freedom. The first strike of fear is always the worst. She tried to move. He blocked her. She tried to yell. He covered her mouth. The room felt small. The lights too bright. The Bible on the desk sat right there, pages open. But the man holding her down, he wasn't reading scripture. He was breaking every word of it. And let me tell you something else. This ain't just about one woman in one church. This is bigger, because according to the World Health Organization, 1 in 3 women globally will experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. WHO 2021. 1 in 3. Think about 3 women you know. One of them. That's how common this is. That's why we added a real self-defense course in the description and pinned comment, made by law enforcement and martial artists. It's 1 hour. 1 hour that might save your life. But back to her. Her mind was racing. She thought of her mom, waiting at home. She thought of her phone, left in her purse. She thought of the church bells that would ring on Sunday morning, while nobody knew what was happening right here. And she thought of God. Was he watching? Did he hear her? I need you to sit with that for a second. Because we tell ourselves we're safe in certain places, school, church, work. But evil doesn't care about walls or titles or stained glass. Evil hides where trust is strongest. And in Ohio, in 2025, one young woman was about to learn that the hardest way possible. Let's get into the full story. She tried the door. Locked. She tried to scream. His hand was there. Her body froze, but her mind ran wild. Every second stretched out. 1 second felt like a whole minute. 1 minute felt like forever. Now listen. Fear is heavy. It's not just in your chest. It's in your stomach. It's in your arms. It's in your legs. Your body feels like it don't even belong to you. That's what happened to her. Her name is unknown. She was 23. She thought she was coming to church to pray. But here she was, trapped in a pastor's office with a man who wouldn't let her go. He whispered in her ear, told her not to fight, said no one would believe her. And that's what broke her heart, because she knew he wasn't lying. He had power. He had respect. He had the whole town behind him. If she told, who would believe her over him? He pushed her into the chair by the desk. The Bible was still open. And here's the sickest part. He used that desk, that church, that name of God, like it gave him the right to do this. But it didn't. Her eyes darted around the room, looking for anything. A pen, a phone, a way out. Nothing. She thought of running, but the door was locked. And even if she made it past him, the church was empty. Nobody to hear her. Nobody to help. Let me stop right here, because this is why these stories matter. We tell ourselves, if it ever happened to me, I'd fight. I'd win. But the truth is, most of us freeze. And science proves it. According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, RAIN 2022, nearly 70% of sexual assault victims experience tonic immobility, a paralysis response where the body literally can't move. It's not weakness. It's biology. It's survival mode. And that's exactly what happened to her. He leaned closer. His shadow covered her face. His words cut deeper than his hands. Don't tell anyone. Don't even try. Her heart pounded so loud she could hear it in her ears. Boom, boom, boom. She thought, this is it. This is how my story ends. But here's the thing about people. Even in the darkest moment, even when the fear takes over, there's still that one little spark inside. That fight. And she found it. He turned his back for a second. Just a second. And that's when she grabbed the Bible off the desk. Not to read it. Not to pray with it. To swing it. She hit him across the face. Hard. He stumbled back. His lips split open. And for the first time that night, he looked shocked. Like he couldn't believe she fought back. She ran for the door. Her hands shook, trying to turn the lock. Her nails scratched the wood. Her breath came fast, short, broken. And just when she thought she had it, he grabbed her from behind, yanked her back into the room. The chair toppled over. The desk shook. Papers flew everywhere. The Bible hit the floor. She screamed, but the walls swallowed the sound. Nobody came. He shoved her down, but she kept kicking, kept clawing, kept fighting like her life depended on it. Because it did. She scratched his face, left marks across his cheek, drew blood, and that was the moment. The first mistake he made, because now he wasn't clean anymore. Now he had wounds he couldn't explain, but she was still trapped, still inside that room, and his anger was worse now, like a mask had come off, and what was left wasn't human anymore. Now I know what you're thinking. Where's the police? Where's the neighbors? Where's the people supposed to protect her? But that's the thing. There wasn't anyone. Not right then. Not in that church on that cold night. It was just her and him. She tried again to get to the door. He dragged her back. She tried to scream louder. He hit her across the face. The sound echoed. Her head spun. The taste of blood filled her mouth. She thought of her mom again. She thought of her dreams of becoming a nurse. She thought, I'm not supposed to die like this. That thought gave her one last burst of fight. She kicked. Hard. Right between his legs. He groaned. Fell to the side. And for a second, the grip loosened. She pulled free. Ran to the door. Fumbled with the lock. Her hands slick with sweat. Finally it clicked. The door swung open. But she didn't run into safety. The hallway was empty. Cold. Dark. She ran anyway. Her shoes smacked against the old wooden floor. Her breath echoed down the corridor. Behind her, She heard him yelling, his footsteps pounding. He was chasing her. She ran, down the hall, past the pews. Her footsteps echoed like gunshots in the empty church. Her lungs burned. Her heart thumped so loud she thought it might explode. And behind her, he was coming. The pastor, the man who said he spoke for God, the man who now sounded like a wolf chasing prey. She pushed open the sanctuary doors. The room looked holy by day, but at night, it felt haunted. The stained glass windows glowed faint from the streetlights outside. The shadows stretched long, like arms reaching for her. She stumbled between the pews. Her hand slid across the wood, looking for balance, looking for strength. Her breath came out ragged, short, sharp, and then she tripped. Her knee hit the floor. Pain shot through her leg. She almost stayed down, almost gave up. But then she thought of her mom, thought of her little sister, thought of Sunday mornings when she sat right here in these pews, singing hymns. She wasn't going to let him end her story in the same place it began. She got up. He was closer now. His shoes smacked against the floor. He growled her name, said, "You'll never make it out." But she kept going. The church doors were ahead. Heavy wood, iron handles, locked from the inside. She yanked, pulled. Nothing. Locked. Her chest tightened. The tears blurred her sight. She beat on the door with her fists. "Help!" she screamed. But no one was out there. It was late. The street was quiet. And then she remembered her purse. She had left it by the back office. Her phone was inside. Her only chance to call for help. She turned around. He was standing in the aisle now. His face red. His lips still bleeding from when she hit him with the Bible. His eyes dark. And he smiled, like he already knew he'd won. But here's the thing about people in survival mode. We do things we didn't even know we could do. We find strength where there was none. And she did just that. Instead of running away from him, she ran toward him. He wasn't ready for it. She ducked low, slid past his arm, and sprinted back toward the office. Her shoes slapped the floor. Her breath came out like fire. Every second was a gamble. She reached the office, shoved the door. The purse was there. She grabbed it, fumbled for her phone. Her hand shook so bad she almost dropped it. She pressed 911. He burst into the room, saw the phone, rushed at her. The operator answered. 911. What's your emergency? She screamed into the phone. Help me. He's trying to kill me. The church. And then the line went dead. He ripped the phone from her hands, smashed it against the wall. Pieces flew everywhere. She backed up against the desk. Her chest heaved. Her face streaked with tears. He snarled. You think they'll believe you over me? But what he didn't know was that call had already gone through. The operator heard the scream, heard the panic, heard enough. Police were already on the way. He grabbed her again, pulled her close, said she wasn't leaving. Not tonight. Not ever. And she thought, this is it. This is the end. But outside, the first siren wailed. Now let me tell you something. Sirens mean two different things depending on who you are. If you're the one being hurt, that sound is hope, life, a second chance. But if you're the one doing the hurting, that sound is death, the end. He froze. She heard it too. The sirens growing louder, closer. And for the first time that night, the power shifted. He panicked, let her go, tried to clean himself up, tried to fix his shirt, wiped the blood from his lip, told her, say nothing, or you'll regret it. But she wasn't listening anymore. She was staring at the door, waiting for it to open. The sirens cut off. Car doors slammed. Voices shouted. Heavy boots hit the ground. And then, the church doors banged open. Police, show me your hands. He raised his hands slow, tried to act calm, tried to play the part of a man in control. But the scratches on his face, the blood on his shirt, the fear in his eyes, told a different story. She broke down, collapsed to the floor. The tears came heavy now, not because she was weak, but because she finally knew she might live. An officer knelt beside her, wrapped a coat around her shoulders, asked if she was safe. She nodded, but her body shook all over. He was arrested right there. Handcuffs clicking loud in the silence of the church. The same silence he thought would protect him. Now it was his cage. Now let me remind you, this story is not just about her. It's about all of us. Because this could happen anywhere, in any town, to anyone. And it's always the people you think you can trust. She was taken to the hospital, checked for injuries, interviewed by detectives. Every word she spoke was heavy, but she told anyway, because she knew if she didn't, he'd do it again. That night, her life changed forever. But so did his, because now his mask was gone, and the whole world was about to see who he really was. The church was quiet again, but this time, it wasn't the quiet of fear. It was the quiet of evidence. Yellow tape stretched across the doors. Officers with flashlights moved through the aisles. Every corner, every drawer, every shadow, because now this wasn't a place of prayer. It was a crime scene. Detectives sat her down, asked her to tell the story. Her voice cracked. Her hand shook, but she told it all. Every second, every word, every bruise. She showed them the scratches she left on his face, the cut on her lip, the bruises on her arms. It was enough to charge him, but they needed more. And then, they got it. Her 911 call had been recorded. The scream, the words, "Help me, he's trying to kill me." The sudden silence. That was all the jury would ever need. But here's the part nobody saw coming. She wasn't the only one. The news broke the next morning. Ohio pastor arrested on kidnapping and sexual assault charges. The community gasped. Some said it had to be a mistake. Others said they weren't surprised. And then the phone started ringing. One woman called, then another, all with the same story, all with the same fear, all with the same shame they'd carried in silence. He had been doing this for years. Years. Using the church, using his title, using their trust. Some women said he cornered them after choir practice. Some said he locked the doors after Bible study. One said he told her, "This is how God shows his love." Sick, twisted, evil. Now the police had a pattern. Not just one victim, not just one night, but a predator hiding in plain sight. Detectives searched his office, found hidden cameras, stacks of old photos, hard drives full of images no pastor should ever have. And in that moment, the truth was clear. This wasn't just about faith. This was about control. This was about power. This was about a man who thought he could play God inside those walls. The community split. Some stood by him, said he was innocent until proven guilty. Others rallied around the women, held vigils, lit candles, stood outside the courthouse with signs that said, "We believe you." And she, the 23-year-old who made that desperate 911 call, she became a voice for all of them. Now let me pause right here, because this is where it gets real. According to the World Health Organization, WHO, 2021, 1 in 3 women worldwide will experience physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. 1 in 3. This isn't rare. It isn't somewhere else. It's everywhere. That's why we added a self-defense course in the description and pinned comment, made by law enforcement and martial artists. 1 hour. 1 hour that could save your life. Because she fought with her voice. And sometimes, that's all you have. The pastor sat in jail now. His mugshot plastered across the news. The same face that once smiled from the pulpit. Now pale, defeated, exposed. But the trial was coming. And trials, they don't move fast. Months went by. Lawyers argued. Witnesses lined up. More women stepped forward. The list of charges grew. Kidnapping, sexual assault, unlawful restraint, possession of illegal material. This wasn't just a fall from grace. It was a crash, a collapse. A man once lifted up by faith, now drowning in evidence. And her? She carried the weight every day. Nightmares woke her up. Flashing lights made her jump. Church bells made her cry. She stopped singing, stopped smiling, stopped trusting. But she kept going, because she knew, if she quit now, he'd win. Now let me be real with you. This ain't just her story. This could be anybody's story. That's what makes it so hard to hear. That's what makes it so true. The courthouse was packed. Reporters lined the steps. Camera crews stood shoulder to shoulder. Everyone wanted to see the fall of the man they once called pastor. Inside, the air was heavy. Whispers floated across the benches. The women sat together in the front row, shoulders touching, hands clasped, like a choir without music. And at the defense table, there he was, suit and tie, Bible in his hand, as if holding it could wash away what he had done. The prosecutor rose first. Her voice was steady, sharp, every word cut through the silence. "This man," she said, pointing straight at him, "used the house of God as a hunting ground. He preyed on women who trusted him. He twisted scripture to silence them. He used fear to keep them trapped. But one night, one woman fought back. And because of her, we are here today." Then came the evidence. The 911 call played in court. That scream echoed through the room. Jurors shifted in their seats. Some covered their mouths. The pastor's lawyer tried to object. Overruled. Then the photos. Her bruises. Her swollen lip. The marks around her wrists. The jury leaned in closer. The story was painting itself, and it was ugly. But the biggest blow, the hard drives. Detectives testified about what they found in his office. Hidden cameras disguised as smoke detectors. Files of recordings. Folders labeled with women's names. Some files going back years. Every single woman who had spoken out, there they were. On his computer, his defense attorney tried to argue it wasn't him, that someone else planted it. But the metadata told the truth. Timestamps, usernames, passwords, all his. And then, the testimonies. One by one, the women walked to the stand, each voice trembling, but steady enough to tell their truth. One woman said he told her, "Don't fight me. God put me here for this." Another said he locked her in his office after choir practice. Said she begged him to let her go, but he wouldn't. Another said she tried to leave the church once. He threatened her family. Told her, "If you say anything, I'll ruin you." The jury's faces hardened. Some shook their heads. Some wrote notes faster. And then came her, the 23-year-old who made the call. She stood up, walked to the stand, hands shaking, but eyes fixed on him. She told them everything. The sermon that turned into a trap. The back room. The words he said. The way she fought. The phone call. The terror. And when she pointed at him and said, "That's the man who tried to kill me." The courtroom froze. Even the pastor looked away. The defense tried to spin it. Said the women were bitter. Said they were lying for attention. Said the bruises came from something else. But it didn't matter. The evidence was stacked too high. The voices were too strong. The truth was too heavy. After 3 weeks of testimony, the jury left the room. Hours passed. The women sat together, hands shaking. He sat at the table, head down, pretending to pray. And then the door opened. The jury filed back in. The foreman stood. The words came. Guilty on all counts. The courtroom erupted. Some cried. Some clapped. Some just sat in shock. The women hugged each other. For the first time in years, they weren't silent. They weren't alone. And him, the pastor who once stood above them, now he was escorted out in handcuffs. No more sermons. No more power. No more hiding behind God. The judge sentenced him to life. No parole. No second chance. The doors closed behind him. And that was the last time his congregation would ever see his face. But let's be clear. This story doesn't end in a courtroom. Because for the women, healing takes time. Some still jump at loud sounds. Some still wake up from nightmares. Some still can't walk into a church without crying. But they survived. They fought. They broke the silence. And in doing so, they saved others. And for her, the 23-year-old with the courage to call 911. She said it best when she walked out of court that day. "I thought my voice didn't matter, but it did. It saved my life. And maybe it saved theirs too." Now here's the truth. Predators hide everywhere. In schools, in gyms, in workplaces, even in churches. That's why we can't just sit silent. That's why we teach. That's why we fight. And that's why in the pinned comment and description, we linked that self-defense course. Because 1 hour of knowledge can give you one chance to survive. She made her voice her weapon, and that weapon brought justice. But the question is, if it happened to you, what would you do?